Hi everyone, welcome back to Grounded Haven. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here today. It's like 75 degrees and overcast, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of harvesting today. We actually have a ton of things that are ready to harvest now. The garden is really ramping up. So today I have the typical spring things that I check for every day right now, which are strawberries, peas, and asparagus. But I also have some other like special things. I have another head of broccoli that I'm going to harvest. Our zucchini plants are also starting to produce, and we just picked our first one the other day, and I think there's another one ready to harvest today. And I'm also going to be grabbing some herbs for the week, so plenty to do. I have a couple baskets with me, and we'll just go out into the garden and see what we can pick. I'm going to start with the broccoli first, and this is the one that we picked the other day in a video. And we also picked one yesterday, and today it looks like I have two more to pick actually. So here's one of the ones I'm going to pick today, and I just looked to see if the florets are starting to kind of loosen up. Once they start to loosen up, it's not going to be long before these open up into flower, so I want to pick that before that happens. And then we have another one here. This one's pretty big. Alright, so change of plans. It started raining like the minute I got set up.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day here.
I feel like that has happened like 10 times this spring already. Every time we go outside to do something, it starts raining or drizzling. Hopefully it stops in a couple of hours, but right now I guess I'll just go bake some bread. I have some challah that I'm going to try baking for the first time, and I'll just work on editing some videos while I wait for the rain to stop, and then we'll try again this evening. Alright, we are back out. My bread is in the oven. The sun's coming out and it's getting humid, and it's still kind of drizzling. But we're just gonna try and brave through it because I just really want to get this stuff harvested. The rain has kind of been hard to schedule around this year because I feel like it's just been raining nonstop, but I guess I can't really complain because the garden's really been liking it. Look at that gorgeous head of broccoli. And then we've got another one here. This one looks like it's bigger. Cutting pretty far down because I actually really like eating the stalk of the broccoli. That is gorgeous. The leaves of broccoli are edible as well. You can eat them kind of like collards. So I think I'm actually going to grab some of these ones, especially the inner ones that look really nice. I'm going to make like a bean and greens soup tomorrow or sometime this week. So I'll just grab them now. I like to grab a lot of things for the next couple days if I know what I'm going to make, because that way I can just bring everything inside and prep it all at once, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. And it is definitely raining a little bit more now. Gonna have to see if I have to take a break for a bit. Before we head over to the next area, I just wanted to show you our very first tomatoes are starting to blush. These are our sun gold tomatoes, and we have tomatoes on two different plants that are starting to turn. And these ones are going to be orange when they're ripe, so they're already like halfway there. So excited for the first tomatoes of the season. Since we're right here, I'm going to take a look at this row that has our asparagus, and we have strawberries on the sides as well. I already see some strawberries that are ready. The squirrels have figured out where our strawberries are, but I see some good ones, so that's great. See some ants on that one, so I'll pick that for the chickens later on. I feel like the peak of strawberry season has already kind of passed. Getting a little bit less every day. Still a good amount, but definitely not as much as it was even just last week. So I'm glad that we were able to get at least one jar of strawberry jam canned for the year. Here's how we're looking so far. Only found 2 spears of asparagus today, and I still have plenty of other areas of strawberries to pick. But now I'm at the zucchini row, and these plants are just looking incredible. I am so happy with our zucchinis this year. So we had this row covered for probably the first month after they were transplanted, but now that they're really big and once they started flowering, we took our row cover off so that it could get pollinated. And I see some that have grown so much just from this morning. Like I said, we picked our first one yesterday, and I thought we would only have one more to pick today, but I think I see a few that I'm gonna pick. Definitely gonna pick this guy. He is a thick boy. Really beautiful. The first one that we picked was a yellow squash. So this is our first green one. I think I'm also going to pick this yellow one here. It could go a little longer, but I do like them a little bit on the smaller side because they're more tender. And I'm planning on cooking up some roasted zucchini today. So I just picked this small one. It's clearly not really that big, but I can tell that this one didn't get pollinated correctly. If you see that it's kind of growing towards the stem end, but the blossom end is kind of shriveled up, that usually means that you had poor pollination. We did have one day where we had a ton of female blossoms open, and I didn't really see any male blossoms open. So I think we did have a pollination issue with some of these. It was really weird because we have like 10 plants here, and somehow there were not any male flowers open that day. But I think that's kind of why some of these zucchinis are really weird shaped. If you see this one, it's clearly growing more than the one I just picked, but that end should be a lot thicker and it's kind of on the skinnier end. So I think it just like got pollinated very poorly. So hopefully from here on out, more of the male ones open at the same time. It doesn't look like we've lost too many to poor pollination. Oh, I just found some squash bug eggs too on this leaf. Definitely gonna get rid of those. I usually just rip the part of the leaf off that has the eggs, and then I just squish them. I've only seen 2 squash bugs so far. I think having our squash covered in the beginning really did help, but I've got to start checking for eggs on a regular basis now because I don't want them to take over. But overall, the squash are looking really nice. I think we're finally going to get a good harvest of zucchini this year, which I'm really happy about. Last year was a really bad zucchini year for us, so I'm hoping this year makes up for it. Here is our gray zucchini that I wanted to show you. They're not quite ready to harvest yet, but they are definitely coming along. And by the way, when I was talking about pollination, if you don't know how to look for a male or female flower, it's super easy. You can see this one right here. It's kind of just got a stem and doesn't have a baby fruit. That's a male flower. And female flowers will have a little baby zucchini right at the base of it. So you'll need one of each to pollinate your squash. Otherwise, they can shrivel up kind of like the one I showed you. Now I'm in an area behind our shed. I don't show this very often, but we have a huge patch of mint here that I'm going to pick. We also have a grapevine that's growing by the shed. And look at those baby grapes. Pretty cool. So I'm going to pick some of this mint. As I'm sure everybody knows, mint grows like crazy, and this patch always goes wild every year, and I really can't use it all. But I'm just going to pick a few sprigs of this. They're great to throw in our afternoon iced tea. And what I'm going to be picking this mostly for today is for some falafel that I'm going to be making this week. I really like to put a lot of herbs in my falafel to make it really fresh. So I'm picking some mint, and then I'm also going to be picking some parsley later on. I also really like to put cilantro in there. We just don't have any growing right now, but maybe I'll pull some out from the freezer that I preserved from this spring to throw in there. But even just mint and parsley will be nice. So I think that's going to be plenty already. By the way, I just got this basket, and don't you think it's so pretty? I got it at like a fair trade store, and I think it's just going to make the harvest this year really fun and pretty. I'm going to keep picking a few more herbs. Here I have some dill, and we did have some swallowtail caterpillars hatch on this, so I'm gonna have to make sure I don't pick any sprigs with caterpillars on them. Although I haven't been able to find them the last couple days. I really hope they didn't get eaten by a bird. But we did see them hatch already. And that's mainly what I grow dill for anyway. I grow it for the caterpillars because I don't really love dill that much. But a couple sprigs will be nice for the week. And then last herb is our parsley. This is my Italian giant parsley. And these sprigs are just huge. Look at the size of that stem. So I probably will only need a few stems of this. And look at the root of that too. It almost looks like a carrot. So I'll grab a couple of sprigs from this plant. And then I've got another plant on this side. So a couple sprigs from each plant. That should be plenty for me. I actually completely forgot. I wanted to harvest a bunch of carrots today too. So I have a bunch of carrots in this bed. We have already harvested some of them, and our peppers are finally getting to the point where they do actually need more space and sun, and these carrots are getting pretty large. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and harvest everything that's in here today, even though some of them might be a little on the small side. There definitely are some pretty sizable ones here, and then I'll have to go back into the back because I have another area with carrots that I completely forgot about. So I'll just pick everything at once. Homegrown carrots obviously have a lot of dirt on them, so it can be really annoying to just pick a couple, especially if I just want to snack on them or dip them in some hummus. So I think it's a good idea for me to just pick a whole bunch of them at once, get them all cleaned and scrubbed up so that they are just sitting in the fridge. That way we'll be more likely to eat them. My timer's going off. My timer just went off, so back in to grab my bread. And tell me that doesn't look incredible. Pretty good for my first try. We'll cut into that later. Well, that is not bad at all. Pretty nice size. These are Danvers half-lawn carrots, and any of the really small ones I just left in the bed. Those will just dry out and become mulch. And I think the peppers are going to be much happier with that. They have lots more space to grow big now without the carrots shading them out. So now I'm gonna head to the back. I have a few more carrots to harvest back there. So right in between the broccoli and the tomatoes I showed you earlier, I do have some carrots to harvest. Should have done it when I was back here, but I completely forgot about them. So we had some of our soft nut garlic planted in this row. We have already pulled up some of it, but we didn't have great germination on them. So what I did was I went in the spring and just filled in any empty spaces with carrot seeds. And it looks like that was a really great use of space because these have done really well. And the garlic that did come up still had plenty of space to grow. I think this is a different kind of orange carrot. These might be muscade carrots. So you can tell they're a little bit bigger. The other ones are more like snacking carrots. I'm really happy with the size of these. Some of them are a little on the small side. We also have some golden beets growing here. I'm not gonna pick them today because they still need a little bit more time, but they're actually doing pretty well. They are forming a bulb. I know I've mentioned before we have not had really good success with these in the past, but I mean, that's a pretty good beet right there. So I'm gonna give those a few more weeks, and then I'm excited to see if we can finally get a harvest off of them. And then maybe I won't write them off because I do like the flavor of gold beets more than red ones. Those are some beautiful carrots. So I picked some more strawberries from other areas of our garden, and the last thing I need to pick are our snow peas, which you can see right behind me. These ones I pick every day to make sure they keep producing. So let's see what I can get today. Here is our final harvest from the day. Pretty good, I think. Definitely have lots coming out of the garden these days. Before I end today's video, I wanted to give you guys an update on our Broody hen. The move went pretty smoothly, moving her in the pet carrier, but we thought that it was a little too small, so Erin actually built this little Broody cage for her to stay in. We just put a towel over it to give her some privacy. But she's in there now. She's got plenty of space. We put 5 eggs under her. And we do leave this propped closed during the day so that nobody goes in and bothers her or lays any other eggs in there that we don't keep an account of. But she has food and water in there. And honestly, I think if it was up to her, she wouldn't get out of here at all day. But we actually force her to get out twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, just so that she can get up and stretch her legs, get some fresh food and water, and walk around and also poop. But she's been doing really well. She comes back here, no problem. She knows where her eggs are. In the morning when we let Pretty Girl out, she's actually really funny to watch because she'll just sprint around like crazy, run to the water, and then just find like a spot to scratch up, and she'll just be sprinting around everywhere. Sometimes she'll just like flap her wings a lot and just like let out a screech. I think she's trying to make up for lost time just because she spends so much of her time inside sitting on those eggs right now, so it's kind of funny to watch her just run around like crazy. And then usually after 10 or 15 minutes, she decides that she's had enough, and then she'll just go right back. She knows where her eggs are now, and she knows that she wants to go into this little cage to sit on her eggs. So she'll go in all by herself, and she'll pretty much just spend the entire day there until we take her out for the evening to make sure she gets a little bit of exercise and stretching. And we also absolutely love just watching her tuck those eggs under her. It is such a fun little thing to watch, and she's so precious and delicate about it, and she'll spend time making sure all of the eggs are underneath her belly so that they are nice and warm, and she'll just like tuck them under with her beak, and it is so cute. Taking a moment today. We are going to try candling the eggs either tonight or tomorrow just to double check if they are fertilized. I think by day 5 you should be able to see if there is like a little speck in there, so that's what we're going to be looking for. And I'll put that footage at the end of the video if we can see anything. She's been doing really good, really happy with her demeanor. She's been so sweet. I know a lot of broody hens will like peck at you if you try to move them, but she has not pecked at us at all. She lets us pick her up out of her cage even to like bring her outside, and I can even just like pick her up with one hand usually, and she doesn't mind at all. She is being super sweet. This is gonna make for some good French toast, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Feels so light inside.
Wow.
Ooh. That was really good.
So what's different with the dough and how you do it?
So it's a pretty enriched dough. So this has like almost 3 eggs.
Mm.